To create a scraper from the front page, just click Create a Scraper. But make sure you're logged in first, otherwise it won't know where to save it. Anywhere else on the site, just hit New Scraper on the right hand side. You'll get a choice of 3 languages for which to write your scraper. I'll code mine in Python. Now, if you've seen our introductory screencast, you'll know that the example I used is that of Cabinet Office spend data. So let's see how I would start that scraper. First of all, I need to import the libraries I'll use. Now, I know I'm using CSVs. I'm going to have to fetch a URL. And as they say, here's one I prepared earlier. Now, after importing all my libraries, I need to go into the URL to fetch it. I need to get the links that have CSV files in them. Once I'm in there, I need to go in and read all the lines. I need to pull out the headers. Sometimes the headers are actually different, so I need to fix that. And then I need to restructure again, making sure I know where the end of the file is, and saving it into ScraperWiki using ScraperWiki.sqlite.save. I have to choose the unique keys, which are the headers, for which they will save again and again until they are different. So that is URL, transaction number, and expense type. So in that way I'm saying if a row of data comes in that has a different URL, transaction number, and expense type to anything else in the data store, add it in. If not, it's already in there. And then I'll save the rest of my data. Now, one way to double check that your code is working as you're writing it is to run it. So let's say if I didn't have this line, I'll take it out. If I hit run, it starts fetching the data and then it gives me an error. Binary strings must be in UTF-8 encoded. So when I first wrote it and I hit that error, it told me, well, I'm going to have to put in that line. And so by writing print statements of the output, which I see in the console, I can double check that things are working or I'm getting what I want. And then if errors come up, I have to code for them. So now I can test my scraper by running it. On the console tab, you'll see all output from the code like print statements, which you use for troubleshooting and writing your scraper, and seeing the output at each stage. Now, once I've started to save data to the data store itself, I can see the data going in on the data tab. If I'm scraping more than one URL, I can make sure they're all being scraped by checking the list in the Sources tab. And so in the editor, you can double check what's coming out of your script, you can double check what's going into the data store itself, and you can see which sources are being scraped.